You're sitting alone. It's late. The glow of your phone screen is the only light in the room. You scroll up. You read her last message. It was 2 days ago. 2 days of silence. 2 days of questioning yourself. 2 days of staring at words that used to feel warm, but now feel cold. And you ask yourself, why? She said she loved me. She leaned in close the last time we met. She smiled. She touched me like she cared. So why now? Why this silence? Why this sudden distance? Your mind is pulling you into panic. It whispers, she's losing interest. She's moving on. Maybe I wasn't enough. But your gut is screaming something different. Something deeper. Something raw. And I'm here to tell you the truth no one else will tell you. Her silence is not rejection. Her silence is not punishment. Her silence is a test. Let's make one thing clear before we go deeper. A woman doesn't ignore a man she doesn't care about. She ignores the man she does care about because she's trying to feel his core. Understand this. Her silence is not empty. It is full of observation. Every second she doesn't text you back, she's watching. Not your phone. Not your words. You. She's watching your energy. She's sensing if your strength is real or if it was just a performance in the beginning. She's feeling deeply if you're the man who collapses when his validation is taken away, or the man who becomes stronger, quieter, sharper in her absence. And this is where most men fail. Picture it. She pulls back a little. Her replies get shorter. What do most men do? They panic. They text faster. They double message. They scroll through her Instagram stories, searching for clues. They post pictures to get her attention. They call. They beg. They over-explain. And with every desperate move, they prove her right. They prove that the man she thought was grounded was only acting. They prove that his peace was fake. They prove that his strength existed only as long as she was giving him constant attention. And the moment she sees that weakness, her attraction begins to wither. Because attraction is not built in comfort. It is built in tension, in mystery, in the unknown, in the test. Now, listen carefully. What you do in this silence, in this space, determines everything. This is not just about her. This is about you. If you panic, you prove you are like the rest. If you chase, you prove your strength was only skin deep. If you collapse, you confirm her doubts. But if you hold steady, if you breathe, if you ground yourself, if you redirect your energy back into your mission, you pass the test. She wants to feel your energy steady when hers withdraws. She wants to feel your presence even when you're not in the room. She wants to feel that you do not crumble when she retreats. Because a man who collapses under silence is not a man she can trust with her love. So what do you do when she ignores you? You do not chase. You do not question. You do not replay every conversation like a broken record. Instead, you step into stillness. You train. You lift. You run. You read. You build. You sharpen your focus on your mission, your path, your craft. Because women are not drawn to your words. They are drawn to your gravitational pull. The quieter you become, the louder your energy speaks. The calmer you become, the stronger your presence radiates. This is the paradox. When she withdraws, the worst thing you can do is move toward her. The most powerful thing you can do is stand still. Think about nature. A flame dances wildly when the wind blows against it. But a mountain doesn't move. The storm can rage, the sky can scream, the earth can shake, and yet the mountain stands, silent, unshakable. That's what she wants to feel from you. That's what her silence is testing. Not your words, Not your begging, not your explanations, your silence, your calm, your ability to remain the mountain when she becomes the storm. So right now, I want you to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, comment these words in your mind and in your actions. I rise, not chase. Repeat it until it becomes your reality. I rise, not chase. Because this silence, this test, this withdrawal, it's not here to break you. It's here to reveal you, to show her, and more importantly, to show yourself, who you really are when love stops validating you every second. This is only the beginning. In this silence, she is watching. But more importantly, in this silence, you are being reborn. You are not losing her. You are being given the chance to gain yourself. And if you pass this test, she will feel it, even when you say nothing, even when you do nothing, because your energy will speak louder than your words ever could. Welcome to part 1. She feels you even when you're silent. The battlefield has just opened. The next move is yours. She's gone quiet. The space between you grows wider. Her replies, once paragraphs, are now one-word answers. Her warmth, once constant, now feels like winter. And in that silence, your mind screams. Do something. Text her more. Call her. Prove to her you care. But let me tell you the harsh truth. Every time you scramble to react, you destroy the very attraction she's testing. Because what she's measuring is not your effort. It's your stability. This is the law. When she pulls back, you must become the wall, not the wind. The wind bends. The wind reacts. The wind chases. The wall does not move. When she feels distance, she's not looking for your panic. She's looking for your foundation. Can you stand unshaken when her emotions shift? Can you hold your ground when her warmth disappears? Can you be rooted when the storm hits? That is what she is testing. Not to play games, not to hurt you, but to feel if she is safe in your presence. Picture this moment. She sends you a cold reply. Just 2 words. You feel the punch in your stomach. Your fingers hover over your phone, ready to type a long response. But stop. That urge, that fear, that desperation to pull her back with words, that is the very thing she is measuring. If you collapse into reaction, you fail the test. If you beg for her warmth, you show her you cannot hold steady when life gets cold. Because a man who unravels when a woman withdraws is not a man she can give her trust to. Let's break it down. If she sends 1-word replies and you double text to get her attention, you lose. If she says she needs space and you chase after her, you lose. If she gets distant and you smother her with reassurance and validation, you lose. Not because you didn't love her enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because you proved you are controlled by her emotions. And the man controlled by her emotions can never lead her. Listen carefully. A woman's emotions will rise and fall like tides. Fast, unpredictable, intense. That's not weakness, it's nature. But if you drown in those tides with her, she loses faith in you. She doesn't need another storm. She needs the shoreline. She needs to feel that no matter how high her waves crash, your feet stay on the ground. That's what safety feels like to a woman. Not the kind of safety that makes her comfortable, but the kind of safety that makes her surrender. So how do you become the wall? Number 1, control your reactions. When she pulls back, breathe, pause, wait. Do not let her silence trigger a storm inside you. Number 2, respect her space. If she says she needs distance, give it. Not as a tactic, not as punishment, but as proof that you do not collapse when she steps away. Number 3, stay on your mission. Your work, your growth, your discipline, your path. These things don't stop just because she's distant. In fact, they must become stronger. Number 4. Stop making her the regulator of your emotions. Your worth, your peace, your strength. None of these should rise or fall based on how she texts you. You must be the source of your own calm. Think of yourself like a fortress. A fortress doesn't panic when the outside world grows hostile. It doesn't open its gates just because there's a storm. It stands tall. It holds. It endures. That is how she wants to feel you. Not as a man who begs to be let inside her emotions, but as a fortress she can walk into when she's ready. Understand this. She doesn't want you to ignore her. She wants you to be unmovable. When her mood shifts, when her silence stretches, when her energy grows cold, she is not asking for you to crumble. She is asking, without words, can you stay steady when I can't? Can you remain calm when I spiral? Can you be the ground I can fall onto, even if I push away? That is the real question beneath her silence. So the next time you feel that panic, the next time you're tempted to chase, to explain, to fix, stop, stand tall, stand silent, stand steady. Be the wall, not the wind. Because women do not fall in love with a man who bends at every breeze. They fall in love with the man who cannot be shaken by any storm. And if you become that man, her silence will not break you. It will only reveal you. Welcome to part 2. You must be the wall, not the wind. This is where attraction lives. Not in words, not in chasing, but in the calm, unshakable presence of a man who does not crumble. The test has only just begun, and the next lesson is even more vital. When her chaos rises, your calm must rise higher. Her silence isn't the only test. Sometimes it's worse. It's the storm, the sudden outburst, the tears, the anger that seems to come from nowhere. And you sit there confused, asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why is she upset? Why is she acting like this when everything was fine just yesterday? But listen to me carefully. It's not about what you did. It's about what she feels. And when a woman's emotions rise into chaos, your response determines everything. This is the law. When her chaos rises, your calm must rise higher. Because in that moment, she is not searching for logic. She is not searching for explanations. She is searching for your center. The truth is brutal, but here it is. If you lose your calm when she loses hers, she loses you. If you rise into anger when she rises into chaos, she cannot trust you. If you crumble when she breaks, she feels unsafe in your presence. But when you remain calm, when you breathe, when you hold your ground with steady energy, she feels it. And deep down, she respects it. Picture this. She's crying. She's yelling. Her words sting. Her emotions are fire. Your instinct is to defend yourself, to argue, to raise your voice, to match hers. But imagine if instead, you breathe. You let her storm rage without trying to out-yell it. You sit in silence, grounded, your eyes steady. No anger. No panic. No need to win the argument. Just presence. That silence, that calm, it disarms her storm. Because storms feed on storms. But storms die in stillness. You see, what women test in those chaotic moments is not your words. It's your energy. She doesn't need a man who can fight her. She needs a man who can absorb the fire without burning. She needs to feel that your world does not collapse just because hers is shaking. That is leadership. That is masculinity. That is what pulls her deeper into trust and attraction. So what do you actually do in those moments? First, Control your breathing. Your body wants to react. But if you breathe deeply, slowly, you anchor yourself back into calm. Second, lower your voice. Not with anger, not with force, but with steady presence. The quieter you become, the more her storm realizes it has no fuel. Third, stop defending. You don't need to win arguments with words. You win them with energy. By showing you are not moved, not broken, not dragged into chaos. Fourth, hold space. Sometimes the best thing you can do is say nothing. To let her fire burn out while you remain still, like a mountain surrounded by flames. Think of a river crashing against a rock. The water thrashes, roars, slams against the stone. But the rock doesn't fight back. The rock doesn't move. And in time, the water calms. Because there's nothing to fight anymore. That is you. That is what she is testing. Not your ability to argue, but your ability to remain the rock when her river floods. Now, some men will say, "Why should I put up with this? Why should I deal with her chaos?" And the answer is simple. Because leadership demands steadiness. Because love demands strength. Because if you want her to follow your direction, she must first feel your foundation. She doesn't need perfection. She needs stability. And stability is revealed not when everything is peaceful, but when everything is storming. So the next time she explodes, the next time her silence breaks into fire, do not meet fire with fire. Do not let her storm drag you into chaos. Instead, become calm so powerful that it feels unshakable. Let her words hit the wall of your silence and fall. Let her storm crash against your steadiness and die down. That is not weakness. That is control. That is strength. Welcome to part 3. When her chaos rises, your calm must rise higher. This is not about ignoring her. It's about showing her without words that you are a man she can lean on when her world shakes. Because storms always pass. But if you rise with calm instead of chaos, she will always remember who stood still when everything else was falling apart. And in the next part, we go even deeper. Because the greatest power you can show her is not in reacting, but in mastering the power of silence itself. There is a weapon more powerful than any words you could ever speak. A weapon that most men fear, but the strongest men master. Silence. Not the silence of weakness. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of presence. The silence of a man who doesn't need to prove himself with constant talking, constant chasing, constant noise. This silence doesn't push her away. It pulls her closer. Because when you master silence, she feels you more deeply than she could ever hear you. Understand this. Women don't fall for what you say. They fall for what they feel when you say nothing. It's in the way you look at her without needing to explain yourself. It's in the way you sit in a room without reaching for your phone every 5 seconds. It's in the way you allow space to exist without trying to fill it. Because men who fear silence are men who fear themselves. And if you can't sit with yourself, how can she sit with you? Imagine 2 men. The first man takes her out on a date. Every pause feels unbearable to him. He fills it with nervous jokes, with endless stories, with constant words. He doesn't realize it, but every time he tries to fill the silence, he is proving his insecurity. He is proving that his presence alone is not enough. Now the second man sits across from her. He speaks when he has something to say, but he doesn't chase the silence away. He lets it breathe. He lets her feel it. He looks at her with calm, unhurried eyes, and without saying a single word, she feels him. She feels the weight of his presence. She feels the power of a man who is not afraid of stillness. Which man do you think she is drawn to? Always the second. Always the one who owns silence. Because silence creates tension. And tension creates attraction. When you don't rush to fill the space, she leans into it. She begins to wonder what you're thinking. She begins to feel your mystery. She begins to chase your attention instead of you chasing hers. That's the paradox most men never learn. The less you force, the more she feels. The less you explain, the more she wonders. The less you speak, the louder your presence becomes. So how do you master this silence? First, stop explaining yourself. Every time she asks a question, you don't need a 5-minute answer. A few calm words paired with eye contact speak more than over-explaining ever will. Second, control your body language. Your silence must not look nervous. Sit back, shoulders open, breathe deeply. Silence is powerful only when your energy is steady. Third, let pauses exist in conversations. When she finishes speaking, don't rush to reply. Pause. Let the silence stretch. She will feel the weight of your presence more than the weight of your words. Fourth, withdraw when necessary. When she pulls away, you don't chase with constant texts and calls. You respond with space, with silence. And in that silence, she begins to feel your absence like a gravity pulling her back. Think of the night sky. It is not the stars that make it beautiful. It is the vast silence between them. The stillness, the mystery, the endless depth. That's how your presence must feel to her. Not crowded with noise, not desperate for attention, but vast, endless, mysterious, so powerful in its quiet that she can't help but get lost in it. Remember this: silence is not the absence of power. Silence is power. It is the space where she feels you the most. It is the proof that you are enough without needing to perform. It is the signal that you are rooted, grounded, unshaken. And when you can sit in silence without fear, she begins to crave the sound of your voice. She begins to lean closer, trying to break the silence herself, because she cannot resist the mystery of a man who is not desperate to fill the void. So I want you to test yourself. Sit in silence with her. Say nothing. Breathe. Watch how long it takes before she breaks the silence. And when she does, you'll know your presence has become magnetic. Because the man who masters silence doesn't chase her words. She chases his stillness. Welcome to Part 4. The Power of Silence. This is not weakness. This is not distance. This is strength. The silence of a man who knows himself is louder than the words of 1,000 men who don't. And in the next part, we take it further. Because silence alone is not enough. You must also master the art of unpredictability. The art of keeping her guessing, keeping her leaning in, keeping her chasing. That is where true dominance lies. By now, you understand the silence. You understand being the wall, not the wind. You understand holding calm when she is chaos. But there's another layer. A secret most men never master. It's the power of unpredictability. Because nothing kills attraction faster than being predictable. Nothing dries her desire quicker than knowing exactly how you'll react, what you'll say, how you'll move. Attraction lives in tension, and tension lives in the unknown. If she can read you like a book, she will close it. But if she can't figure you out, she will never stop turning the pages. Here's the truth. Women are addicted to mystery, to curiosity, to the feeling of wondering, what's he thinking? Where is he going? What is he about to do? When she feels like she's solved you completely, her emotions settle. And when they settle, attraction dies. But when you remain unpredictable, not chaotic, not unstable, but unpredictable in a controlled, powerful way, she stays hooked because she never fully has you. And it's that gap, that tension, that keeps her chasing. Imagine this. She texts the first man, "Where are you?" He replies instantly, "At home, just finished work, watching Netflix. What about you?" Predictable. Routine. She knows exactly what to expect from him every time. And slowly, she loses interest. Now imagine the second man. She asks, "Where are you?" He doesn't reply right away. Hours later, she gets a photo of a night skyline, no caption. Instantly, her mind floods with curiosity. Where is he? Who is he with? Why didn't he reply sooner? Why does he seem so at ease in his own world? Her emotions spike. She leans in. She chases. That is the difference between predictable and magnetic. So how do you become unpredictable without playing games? First, stop giving her your entire schedule. Don't announce every move. Let her wonder where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. Second, switch your rhythm. If you usually text her in the morning one day, don't. If you always call at night, skip a night and let her feel the silence. Unpredictability keeps her emotions alive. Third, do things without explaining. Go out, build, train, travel. When she asks, "What did you do today?" you don't owe her every detail. A smile and "handled some things" is enough. Mystery is power. Fourth, surprise her. Sometimes it's distance. Sometimes it's presence. Sometimes it's a simple gesture she didn't see coming. She should never feel like she fully has you. Think of fire. Fire is beautiful because it's unpredictable. The flame dances in ways you can't predict. It moves, it flickers, it surprises you. That's why people sit and stare at it endlessly. Now imagine a light bulb. Steady, predictable, always the same glow. Useful, but boring. Nobody sits for hours staring at a light bulb. Which one do you want to be? The fire or the bulb? But understand this. Unpredictability is not about manipulation. It's not about games. It's not about trying to confuse her. It's about living so fully in your own world, in your own mission, in your own growth, that she can't always predict where your energy will flow. That's the essence. Your unpredictability comes naturally when your life is bigger than her. So I challenge you, stop being the man she can map out on a calendar. Stop being the man who replies instantly every time. Stop being the man who explains his every move. Be the man who lives so deeply in his own path that she has to chase to keep up with you. Because unpredictability is not about distance. It's about depth. It's about being a man with so many layers, so much mystery, so much presence, that she can never finish discovering you. Welcome to Part 5. The Power of Unpredictability. Predictability is safe, but safety kills desire. Unpredictability keeps her emotions alive. It keeps her leaning forward. It keeps her chasing you instead of you chasing her. And when you combine silence, calm, and unpredictability, you become magnetic. But we're not done, because there's one more level. The ultimate key. The truth that separates men she forgets from men she never recovers from. And that is coming in Part 6. We've walked through the silence. We've stood tall as the wall, not the wind. We've risen calm above chaos. We've mastered presence, stillness, unpredictability. But now we come to the final piece. The truth that separates the men she remembers from the men she can never forget. It's not in chasing. It's not in proving. It's not in pleasing. It's in choosing yourself. Because the most powerful man in her eyes is the man who loves her deeply but does not need her to breathe. Understand this once and for all. She does not want to be your oxygen. She does not want to be your reason for existence. She does not want to be the center of your universe. She wants to orbit a man who already has a universe, because the man who needs her will smother her. But the man who chooses her, while still choosing himself, will ignite her. Need repels. Choice attracts. Think of two men. The first man falls in love and abandons everything else. His mission, his friends, his growth. His entire world becomes her. And at first, she feels flattered. But over time, she feels trapped. She realizes he is clinging, because without her, he has nothing. Now the second man. He falls in love too. He gives, he protects, he cherishes. But he never abandons his path. His mission, his discipline, his growth remain at the center of his life. And she feels it. She feels that his love is not desperation. It is power. It is choice. One man loses himself to love. The other man becomes more of himself through love. Which man will she respect? Which man will she crave? Which man will she never recover from? Always the second. You see, love is not about merging into one. It's about standing strong as two. Two pillars. Two forces. Two energies that choose to walk together, but never collapse into each other. If you collapse, she cannot lean on you. If you disappear into her, she cannot feel you. If you give up your mission for her, she will give up her respect for you. Because respect and love are tied. And without respect, her love dies. So, how do you choose yourself while loving her? First, keep your mission first. Your work, your vision, your growth, this is your foundation. No woman can respect a man who abandons his foundation. Second, maintain your boundaries. If she tests you and you fold just to keep her happy, you lose yourself. Boundaries are proof of self-respect, and without self-respect, she cannot respect you either. Third, keep your circle. Your brothers, your mentors, your network, do not abandon them for her, because a man with no tribe is a man who loses his edge. Fourth, be willing to walk away. This is the hardest truth. The man who cannot walk away is the man who can be controlled. But the man who chooses to stay, knowing he doesn't need to, that is the man she will never stop chasing. Think of a king. A true king loves his queen. He protects her. He cherishes her. But his throne does not exist because of her. It exists because of his vision, his kingdom, his discipline, his legacy. Without a queen, he is still a king. But without his throne, he is nothing. That is how you must live. Love her, but never forget your throne. This is the secret. The men who become unforgettable are not the men who give up everything for her. They are the men who give her everything without losing themselves. They are the men who love fully, but stand firmly. The men who hold her close, but hold their mission closer. The men who can look her in the eyes and say with quiet strength, "I love you, but I do not need you to survive. I am whole, with or without you." That truth shakes her. That truth burns into her memory. That truth keeps her chasing for years. So now I challenge you. Do not just master silence. Do not just master calm. Do not just master unpredictability. Master yourself. Choose yourself. Build yourself. Respect yourself. Because the man who owns himself fully will always own her respect, her desire, and her deepest love. Welcome to part 6. Choose yourself. This is the final test, the final layer, the ultimate truth. Women may fall for many men, but they never forget the man who could love them deeply, stand firmly, and still choose himself above all. That is the man who is unshakable. That is the man who is untouchable. That is the man you must become. The time for panic is over. The time for chasing is over. The time for weakness is over. Rise, stand, choose yourself, and watch as the world and the women in it begin to feel your presence like never before.